Okay, right. Gonna jump straight into the markets this week. Spent a lot more time and attention breaking all these down, analyzing the monthly, naked chart, just price action. Alright, let's do this. Let's do this shit. Alright, let's run it. So starting off on USD JPY, right? USD JPY. You can see now. You can see what I'm seeing is this. We're sort of consolidating from the bottom and consolidating from the top, right? Creating sort of this wedge. And you've seen we create a strong price, a strong bullish candle, reject, strong bullish candle, we reject. Doesn't mean that we're going to do it here, but there's the probability. Now, understanding this, so on the weekly, we can see we're at a previous resistance, right? Where prices come up, doji, push. Price is currently at a higher high. We've created a strong candle, a weaker candle, a bearish doji rejection candle. Now there's a very big potential for us to create the evening star formation this week. So when I go on the daily time frame, get rid of this thing. When I go on the daily time frame, I can see that we have resistance, resistance now acting as support. But what I ideally want to see is is a massive bet, right? We can see that there's so much potential room for this weekly pullback, to come down to this support level here, where the EMA and psychological level is. Now, if we are going to create the higher low from this area here, that would lead to us seeing a shift in structure here. Now, I would be betting against the daily in taking this position, and I'd be betting that price is going to break through here. Now, this level is a level of support and resistance on the structural eye, so you can see. So there's a potential. There's a little bit of room, right, which is important because if we break, retest, when we do break and retest, we can place our stop loss above, and price can come down to this level, which is that daily area. If it does have a reaction, pulls back, we have a strong resistance level on the 4 hour. So that's the first trade that's potentially going to be taken this week. The next market is USD CAD. USD CAD, I see we're at these monthly highs. Price is clearly slowing down. We've created a fake out. This is an impulse, This is a lower high in the making, right? The weekly time frame is doji, doji, doji. Weird ass fucking candle. And then we can see potentially price having a pullback, right? Now, we can see a potential pullback occurring from this area. When I go on the daily time frame, I see a beautiful opportunity for this with a evening star. This whole trade is based off of the daily. Like, yes, the weekly is majorly bullish, but we also have to remember on the weekly that we don't often make it into these highs, and we most times see the rejection, right? You see price came up, it had a rejection from this area. Price is now wicked into this area 3 times. We've had this big push which has failed. Now there's a high probability that we could see a price create a higher low. Not high, well, potentially create a higher low. But to push the market in the intended direction, which is to the downside with the monthly. Now, I'm not betting on that entire move, but that goes into my mind when I'm looking, because when I see this counter trend, I see that there's something pulling this, that wants to pull this market to the downside, which that's what I want from my higher time frames. I want confluences and reasons for the market to pull price in that direction. So when I come on the lower time frames, this trade makes sense to me. So we have a beautiful, perfect daily counter trend trade setup. Doji, 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 3-candle engulfing. Come on the 4-hour. The market, you could count this as a shift of structure if you really wanted to. I don't care enough. I'll count it as bullish. It doesn't matter to me. I can see structure. Beautiful, strong resistance level here under the EMA. And we're anticipating for that daily wick pullback, which will be, this trade ideally is a Monday trade. If the momentum is true and we are going to continue to the downside, this trade should be played out by Monday, right? We can see price create pullback through Asian and potentially London, and then New York session, boom, create that drop that we're anticipating. But yeah, there's not much to that. There's not much to that. That's pretty much it. It's just a counter trend, beautiful daily counter trend setup. Yeah. Euro USD on the monthly time frame. The monthly time frame, I see we've created these highs, right? We've created these highs at previous support and resistance zones, which is lovely. So now that we see we're at a higher high on the now we're at a higher high on the monthly. We've had that evening star. We've had that wick pullback on the monthly, right? The market is ready to push to the downside on the monthly perspective, which means the weekly pushing down. Now the weekly is also ready. It hasn't created a shift of structure, but this beautiful area to create a higher low where we have psychological level. The EMA will pull up into this level. Do we have previous resistance, support? Big factor is this big support here. Boom. Big resistance, big support. Those are the ones you want to see, because now this is my take profit area if the market does push to the downside. As you can see, the market, the main low, the main the main candle that I'm looking to see broken is this. So we have the first candle, which created the high. Then we have the lowest candle before it started doing all this fuckery. So soon, when I see price close below this that low candle, that's sort of like a shift of structure, like break. You'll see on the lower time frames, it'll be a break out of that consolidation support. Obviously, on the higher time frames, it looks a little different. But seeing we have a break, a little tiny retest, this is now ready for the week to create another bearish candle to the downside. What do we happen to see? Exactly what I just said. Resistance, it's the support in which we've seen. Now we've seen price break, sort of give us a left head, right shoulder break. It's now retesting. All we're waiting to see is just a little wick to the upside again. Boom, and we're good to go. That little wick to the upside, potentially a doji candle, boom, good to go. And then obviously on the 4-hour, just a little shift of structure, lower high, take that sell position to the downside with such great potential. USD CHF, obviously we're at lows, and there's a correlation between US. I'm analyzing and I'm seeing that US is potentially strengthening, because USD CHF price is created sort of a double bottom. Let me turn this shitty song off. Right, thank you. Price has created this double bottom, but we've created a morning star. Now, always remember this candle hasn't closed on the monthly. So as of right now, we just have price action showing a morning star. Now, when we go down to the lower time frames, we see this strong support. Now, what I explained about the other pair and the break, we haven't had that break of this high that was created before all this fuckery. But strong momentum, a bullish candle, barely any wick to the downside, which I like, which indicates that for the overall week, buyers were stronger, sellers just came in, but buyers still managed to hold it high into new highs for the week, paired with higher high, higher lows loading, resistance, support, resistance, now acting as support as we're seeing prices already slowing down. And the EMA is coming into this area. We have a psychological level at this area. The 4-hour is doing its thing. So this trade is simply just wait for the daily reaction, rejection even, take the trade to the upside, back up to these highs. Beautiful resistance, big support. Come on the weekly, it's that big support here. Psychological level. I've started doing this now. I'm marking psychological levels as my take profits. I'm identifying the area in structure, but then I will mark that psychological level, and that'll be my area that I'm looking to exit the position. Next pair, GDP USD. You can see the trend between USD strengthening, right? But overall, the monthly has created a higher high. Again, evening star. So what is the most probable candle to be printed next, which is going to be obviously a bearish candle. So for that actually to happen, we need to see lower time frames create price action, lower low, lower high, break and retests to create that candle. Now, the weekly has, you could say it's shifted bearish. I'll say it's shifted bearish, right? But we've broken below support. Now, this support, yeah, okay, but resistance, right? Resistance. So you can't always be so focused on this, right? What is happening right now? You have to remember to zoom out, analyze, because from doing that you can see resistance. This is a prime area on the weekly, with the EMA in this area, with also a psychological level at this area, with also a beautiful, when I say watch this, a beautiful level in which the 4-hour EMA is at for us to boom, continue to push to the upside, create the daily rejection, reject the psychological level, create a higher low on the 4-hour, shift that structure on the 4-hour, retest, daily engulfing, 4-hour lower high, a bomba clap. A rat clap, pussy fat, bomba clap. Thing's beautiful, man. This is probably my favorite. This is my favorite. This is my favorite. Daily still has bullish momentum, which paired with the 4-hour being above the EMA and bullish indicates that we can create that push to the upside. Then we can see that the next daily candle be a rejection candle or a slower candle, then a rejection candle. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday engulfing, Thursday, Friday some momentum, or maybe next week completely, and we see just another little bullish candle, like bullish rejection candle, sort of a doji looking motherfucker, and then the next week we see the sell. But I see it coming. GDP AUD very much the same, right? Market is on the monthly. this is more backed. We see resistance, resistance, monthly broke below, right? On the daily, on the weekly, we see resistance, EMA. Is there a psychological level? There's a psychological level here. The daily is retesting absolutely splendidly. Just resistance support, strong ass candle. So I wouldn't take a trade just yet. In moments like this, you got to be very conservative because that's such a strong candle. And for only one doji, I need to see another big wick or another doji, and then the engulfing. I need more confirmation that that momentum is not just hiding, that momentum has fucked off, right? So that'll be a beautiful internal shift of structure on the 4 hour. So this is just beautiful though, because the weekly's closed here under this level and it's ready to drop. So I'm going to mark. I'll finish this and then we'll put the favorite pairs, right? Monthly. Euro NZD, this one's just, it's just here to see, to be honest with you. Trade with the higher time frame trend. Weekly engulfing, lower time frame high. I'm just anticipating for a daily high low continuation into this area. 4 hours to create that high low, push up into that area. Like there's nothing really intricate about that. It's just following the momentum. Reason for that area is because resistance, support, resistance. If you go on the daily, it's the first area. It's the first structural level. Here we go. You can see now why I've done it. It's that first structural sort of lower high spot where the market created a big push, indicating strong sellers. So it's somewhere in this zone that we could see the market just consolidate and reverse. This is not my favorite pair. Then next we have these higher risk trades, right? High risk trades where, again, this is contradictory to euro pushing up, but euro sort of created this resistance shift of structure, waiting for this push to the downside. You see the beautiful pullback. It's just not that great, right? ADUSD, not that clean under this resistance. However, weekly's created this engulfing sort of below this level of support and resistance. Yeah, it's not that clean. It's a trade that you'd want to take on Monday from this area after a 4 hour rejection of the EMA. Stop loss above here, take profit down here. Like, you know, you can, even if you entered down here, this, yeah, Euro AUD, URAD. Again, it was a strong candle last week. You don't really want to trade against it. I'm just looking at the daily and seeing resistance, support, acting as potential resistance. Daily engulfing close below the EMA. 4 hour then to create a lower high, rejecting that daily EMA, rejecting 4 hour previous structure underneath our area of interest, rejecting psychological level. This is probably the best, if euro does happen to weaken, that's probably the best higher risk trade this week. And we're just going to put this in here with them. Because in Euro AUD indicating it's going down, Euro NZD also indicating that it's going to come down. For how long? We don't know. I don't know. But we could see the market push down, push back up, right? You can see the market push down, push back up, right? I just don't know. But from favorite pairs, GBUSD is definitely going to be, it's definitely going to be up there. In terms of who's going to be ready first, it's going to be USD JPY, right? This nowhere near being ready. This is closer to being ready. Euro USD. See, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. It just makes a lot of sense. Because you see, what do we see? We see USD weakening. USD weakening, but we see it weakening overall to go strong, right? So again, when I see this is this is a high probability take profit because it's not below the lower low, higher low even, because we can see GDP strengthening, right? To then see USD strengthen and push the market down. Euro strengthen for the US dollar to then push the market back down and strengthen, right? USD to weaken, CHF to strengthen for then US dollar to push the market down. So we can potentially catch the loss of strength on USD, and then we can catch the actual trend trade with USD strengthening. USD JPY, I'm analyzing this bad boy, and I'm just deep in everything that I just said right then. And this is not the type of trade that I'm gonna stick with. This is gonna go in the shit pile, right? So we've just eliminated these are our top pairs. I don't even want to risk my money on that because it's just not worth it. So we have USD CAD, we have GBP USD, we have Euro USD, we have USD CHF, and we have GDP AUD. GDP. USD similarities. But bro, I was in the zone, man. I was in the zone just analyzing. Wasn't too much hype behind my voice. I was just locked into the markets, We're about to take this shit. When it comes to Alpha Capital, I'm gonna share my Alpha Capital screen. Alright, so 100k stage 2, 6. We lost the first trade on Euro GDP. I should actually show that trade. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, there you go. Euro GDP, 10 lots. We lost 1.8%. So we currently ticked off one trading day. Lovely jubbly. Profit to go 7,950. As far as the rest of the shit go, funded, we are still up in profit, actually. As you can see, we're currently up 166. We've taken 3 trades, apparently. Yeah, 3 trades. As we traded over 3 days. Oh, we only need 2 more days. Oh, that's cushy. You have to have a minimum of 5 trading days to verify yourself to actually request a withdrawal. So number of trades we've taken 3, which have been on 3 separate days. So as you can see, we took a loss that day, we took a win that day. We took this counts as 1 trade. So this week, if we do take a trade on USD JPY and we catch a trade with the trend on GDP USD, Euro USD, then that'll count as our 2 trading days, and we'll be in a juicy amount of profit from the profits made on the counter trend against US dollar and the pro trend on the US dollar. I'm telling you, this week's cooking up. This week is, I'm locked in. I'm mentally prepared. I'm physically strong. I'm recovered. I'm ready to pass the 100k this week and to pass all the fucking nonsense that you got to do for the withdrawal and make a chunky amount of profit. We'll catch again the counter trend and the trend two beautiful winning trades, ticking off the 5 trading days, taking the account into nice profit, passing the 100K for that next week ready to then trade and then start the 100K rolling. Yeah, man. And we're only in the second week of November, you know. By December, the 100K will be live funded. You know, it'll be ready, and then we'll start loading up the next 100K. Fuck, yeah. I believe this shit and I speak it. And just watch. Just watch.